Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I, you might be asking yourself, why is she doing a video that is so darn simple? Well, I miss you guys for one thing, but I think secondly, the underlying message in this video is that, a lot of us have been crafting in one way or another for most of our lives. And we quite often buy supplies, buy equipment, buy tools, and, then interests change. Maybe that particular activity wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And we moved on, like magpies, we moved on to the next shiny thing. I was in my basement studio today and came across a ceramic pot that was full of these sorts of pens. Now, I got these so long ago, I'm saying decades. I think it was in my little teeny-weeny, short-lived foray into card making. Now, I have no idea if they even make these pens anymore. Marvy, brush marker. Japan, color number, blah, blah, blah. Not a particularly dainty, particularly dainty point on them. So, of course, I assumed that they must be dead as a doornail, all dried up. And for those of you out there who maybe became real card makers, maybe you can tell me what this is. I think these two definitely are dried up completely, but it says blender. I don't remember what the point of blenders was, and I have a hunch these are dead. These two are dead. And I suspect that this electrical tape around a couple of these things probably means that the lid cracked. Anyway, this is dead, and so is this one. But I did do, just on a scrap of paper, I tried each pen out because I thought, number one, why would I be hanging on to something that is really of no use? Some of them were kind of a bit sketchy, but I thought, you know what? In the spirit of use it, don't store it, and using what I already have, and maybe being a little more creative in how to approach some things, why don't I just see what I can do with this? So at first, I picked this pad off a grid paper, thinking that I'm just going to color in. I mean, those, like I said, these points are so thick. At first, and I'm just using a piece of parchment paper in between because, of course, it does bleed through the paper. My first thought was, oh, I'm just going to color in little boxes. Like, this is like crafting for grade kids and for people in grade 1. Because the point is so big and clumsy, that's not easy to do. So then, of course, a person could make it bigger. So you have it's a little more forgiving. Or we could learn to love sort of the furry edge on this. And now, if those blending pens worked, maybe it would get rid of some of those strokes. I don't know. But then I thought, okay, I don't use my stencils enough. Why don't I pick one of my favorite ones, which is this paisley one. Of course, that's my favorite pattern in the whole world. And you can see I've used this repeatedly. So I just set up, I must have used, wait, which one was I using? I guess I had it this way. This guy here. And again, without spending a great deal of time thinking, I just began using the colors. Now, as these pens dry, as I keep on keeping on, if they dry up, they get chucked out and we never have to think about them again. The reason, besides liking this stencil, another reason I picked it is because the spaces are fairly big. Again, if these had more fine or delicate points on them, it would be, you know, you could be a little, you'd have a little more leeway in terms of, you know, the size or whatever of stencil. Some of these look almost like they're perfect. The pens, I mean. So maybe I'll just make this one all this hot pink color. Now there is, I guess I could do that as well. It's not going to be perfect, but as you know, perfection is not the goal. Oh, maybe this thing is drying out. Perfection is not the goal. And in fact, in mental health circles, perfection is, you know, something, it's almost considered a disorder because it is so self-limiting. Well, what the heck? Can't we use a wild green like this? These pens are hard to open. Some of the ends look pretty gross too, but again, whoops, that moved. Because I love paisley, and because one of these days I'll be, oh, there's some ink there. I'll be bringing you along to work on some boho stuff. You know, this will be all right. Like, even if I just have to tear it up and use it for, you know, collage fodder or something. So I hope that, like I said, my goal here today is to prove to you that a lot of art supplies last so very long. See, this probably is almost toast here. I know that I have some acrylic paint that is probably 20 or, well, 25 years old. And one of these days I'll be doing the same thing with that. And I'm not talking, well, I am talking about the El Cheapo stuff, like the craft paint that causes, that costs, you know, a couple bucks a bottle, or used to. See, this thing is just about out of juice here. But I'm also talking about artist quality stuff. When I was taking art classes, I was investing in good supplies because, you know, if you're hoping to sell somebody a framed watercolor, oh, yuck, a framed watercolor painting, then it better be on archival, you know, paper. It better be painted with light, fast, professional quality supplies. And, you know, it better stand the test of time. And the framing too, you know, with rag mats and so on. I wonder, do I want to use that in overlap or, well, what the heck. So this is really mindless work here. And you know, if you've been around more than a day or two, you know that some days, where did I lose the cover? Some days that's all we can muster up. So there's no shame in that. It's just accept it and move on. So I'll do, you know, a couple more, chit chat for a little longer, and then, ooh. Okay, this color officially is called ochre, but we know it is really the color of baby diarrhea. So, you know. And maybe you can look for it under that name. So again, you know, it's the same thing with stamp pads. Quite often they can be refreshed. So, you know, don't be too discouraged if something seems like it's seen better days. It may be just enough to create something in your art journal, to create some unique collage fodder, and, you know, give you a little bit of playtime, get you using your, oh, see, it almost looks better maybe when it's a little blotchy, because then it almost looks like it has shadows. And also, then you think to yourself, oh, it's a good thing I bought all those stencils. Look at, I used them today. Just today I used my stencils. And again, I'm not being particularly precious about this. It is what it is. If it's blotchy or whatever, that's okay. Again, I don't mind that one little bit. And maybe I'll just keep dotting this color around the paper. I could probably just do some of these little flowers too. Scatter them around. So I hope you are well. I hope that you have been, okay, today is March, what day is it? Is it the 20th or the 21st? I can't quite remember. I can almost tell time by, okay, it's the 20th. It's the first day of spring. I should have remembered that. I am hosting that Masterboard Madness collab. And today's video, and I hope you get your butts over there and watch it, is Candace from Candy Cane Creates. And, you know, she was, when I first reached out to invite her to take part, she was flattered, but she was also scared, because she felt a little intimidated, because she said, I've never done a masterboard before. So I just expressed my confidence in her to be able to do it. Said there's, oh yuck, look what's happening over here. Expressed my confidence in her ability to do it. And, you know, the whole thing about you really can't, you know, you can't make a mistake. Oh, isn't this just lovely? So this was some kind of crusty stuff that obviously get. You should try picking that up instead of just smearing it around. Oh, brother. Anyway, she did such a beautiful job. And of course, just like Karamia at the start of the month, I pointed out to her, because Karamia had given me a couple dates that worked for her. And of course, I aimed to please. And I said, okay, why don't you do March 8th, which was International Women's Day? And she grabbed the theme and ran with it. And so did Candace today, because of course, spring equinox and the first day of spring. She did an absolutely gorgeous masterboard that she had done ahead of time and showed us. And then she did an extension off it, which is a heck of a good idea too. You know, do it in stages, all in one, sort of one big thing. So depending on what size you may want your final product to be. See how these are kind of smooth there and kind of grody there? I don't know. That's, again, when we get through all this, they can go in the garbage with no guilt associated with it. Anyway, she was using book pages as her substrate and did an extension of the one she had done previously or I mean off camera. And, oh, and the other thing, spoiler alert, all of a sudden you see her pick up her phone. Well, I guess she got a weather warning on her phone saying, take shelter. So, you know, if it was my phone, I'd be stopping in midstream and have to, well, redo the video. Anyway, she was able to pause it, take shelter. I don't know how much time elapsed, but then she came back all safe and sound and continued her video. So I thought that was kind of a first also. Anyway, I really hope that I created a monster there. I hope that she goes on to make master boards and glue stuff down. Anything that is not anything that's unattached, just glue it down. Because she used a bit of fabric. She used napkins. She used paper. And another thing that I thought was so clever, because I've never seen that before, and certainly never done it, is she just used one of those edge punches, punched out some papers, and then cut around the, well, it would have been the no, positive, negative, whichever. One of those pieces, like the, watch the video. It was a kind of a spriggy foliage type thing. And she used that. And it was the size was so perfect. And frankly, and that's what I said in my comment, that it's so much less trouble to do it that way than to, you know, pull out the old Sizzix and find the right die and get something to you know, find the right pattern you want, then find the paper you want to die cut. It's just this, I couldn't get over how clever that was. So hopefully I will remember to use that idea myself. And it also goes to show that you can watch a month's worth of videos from beginners, people with more experience. My take is that in my experience so far this month, so we're like almost 3/4 of the way through, I have learned something new in every single video. And I suspect if you watch them carefully, you will too, depending on how much, you know, how much experience you have, I guess. This is kind of, what do they call this? Pale orange. No kidding. Of course, colors that I don't really care for. They seem to work just fine. And of course, the other thing that I've been doing quite a bit of lately is using markers, fine markers, or see that point kind of gets a wee bit bent and blunted. These, especially where the color is kind of, you know, maybe a bit washed out or not very good coverage, a person can always go in with a micro pen or, well, whatever thickness you want, and do some outlining, do some doodling, give these shapes some definition. So just to give you an example, and then we'll call it a day here. Oh, and I also found this among them, which I thought was kind of strange. I have this in black. But when I went to make my marks, that was the thick end, and that was the fine end. And they're both supposed to be the same color. So Lord only knows what's going on there. But since this is green, why don't we see what happens if I try to outline this? And again, no talent required. None whatsoever. But you get that warm glow and that degree of self-satisfaction, whoopsie, that you would have if you were a, you know, a genius artist. But we don't have to be, do we? I'm doing this a bit fast, so, you know, the likelihood of screwing up increases. But you can see that makes a big difference right there. Do I have... And this is just an ordinary Sharpie. And I guess the beauty of this is, you know, sometimes these Sharpie type pens do not appreciate going over rough surfaces. So in this case, you know, you're not going to wreck the tip of your pen. So that's another plus. Oh, here's some more orange. Again, I just wanted to show you that you can always add more. Now, in hindsight, was grid paper a good choice? I don't know. Anything would have worked. This could have been on brown paper or copy paper or antique ledger or music page. Anything. The choice cannot be wrong. What might work with that baby poop? Well, brown, of course. I think I have a brown one here. Cool. Now, if you wanted to have, if you wanted this to be sort of a more mindful practice, then you could obviously slow down. I'm trying to make a video here. Yes, I talk about mindfulness. Yes, I talk about silence and slowing down. But by the same token, I also want to get some stuff done. So, depending on your frame of mind and what you feel in the moment, like whether you need to just breathe and, you know, knock back and chill, or whether you're trying to meet a deadline of some sort, maybe that will drive how you do this. If you were watching an Amy Maracle, M-A-R-I-C-L-E, video on mindfulness, well, let me start again. I'll start on this piece here. This is how fast she would do this. And she probably wouldn't be talking the whole time. That is quite different than woo, woo. So, you know, if maybe you're not feeling as much joy or self-satisfaction or whatever when you're doing certain aspects in your studio, in your art room, and on the Chesterfield. Does anyone still say Chesterfield, by the way? Maybe change up the speed. Slow down. See if that helps a feeling of calm and joy come over you. It could very well. Okay, I'm not doing the whole thing, obviously. So again, the lesson here today is let's not hang on to the stuff we bought forever. Let's either use it or determine that its best before date came in 2014, and let's just graciously and gracefully part with it. You know, maybe there's some buyer's remorse involved or whatever. But if these things are weighing us down and making us feel guilty, oh, I bought so much stuff, I spent so much money, look how many things I've had, it's taking up space, I've never used it, blah, 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 blah. Just deal with it. Deal with it once and for all. Let it go and start fresh. Whoopsie. I thought I found one that might work around that yellow. Give it a little kick. And let's stop the self-flagellation. Let's stop calling ourselves names, beating up on ourselves, criticizing ourselves. Let's be as kind to ourselves as we are to the people we care about. And those people could even be YouTube people that we have never laid eyes on and probably never will lay eyes on. But we accord them respect that we somehow deny ourselves. So enough of that. And yeah, go and play. And if you have, dug up some old stuff, tried it out, found it still works, let me know in the comments. If you have confronted some of these albatrosses that are in closets and bags and boxes, and they've been dead or gone, have a proper, send off for them. It could be cremation, it could be burial, it could be, whatever you choose, whatever you believe in. And start a little process. Oh, this is getting bad here. Start a little process of mourning them, and then just shake it off and onward. Okay, I'm stopping there. I like the look of this so far. I'm going to, carry on, at some point and repeat some of the colors. Like that hot pink is really beautiful. So is that limey green. Kind of have some of the colors repeat, because you can see that where I repeated, that's where your eye tends to go. If it's just a single blob of something, less likely to have your eye moving around the picture plane. So guys, thank you so much for being here. Again, if you know what this was supposed to be for, and how would I even know? I couldn't, well, it's white, so I don't know, would it show white on white? Like this, I think, is completely toast. But it still stinks. Oh, stinky. I did try dragging it across some of these things when they were wet, but of course nothing happened. So, Lord only knows. I can throw these away and not feel a bit of remorse. Okay, guys, thank you, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.